All right. I'm just gonna do, I guess, one more, maybe two more. I'm gonna do two more examples. We're gonna go back to a vertical motion model, negative 16 t squared plus 10t. You'll notice that this is in feet and not meters per second and such. So in feet instead of meters, plus 0.75 equals 0. Okay, so I guess I'll give you the story behind this. This one's actually from the book. The function shown represents the height of a frog x seconds after it jumps off a rock. How many seconds is the frog in the air before it lands on the ground? Okay, so it doesn't look like the frog lands on the ground. Anyway, so it starts at 3/4 of a foot above the ground. So 9 inches, starts 9 inches off the ground. So the rock is 9 inches high. Gravity is pulling it down at 16 feet per second squared, and it has an initial velocity of 10 feet per second, if you wanted all that information. Okay, so we're going to plug this into we could try and factor and do some other things, complete the square, but we're going to put it into the quadratic equation. So we're just going to say, okay, x is equal negative b is 10, so negative 10 plus or minus the square root of b squared, that's 100, minus 4 times negative 16 times, I'm going to make that 0.75 3/4. You don't have to do that, and you can use a calculator to calculate that part. There's no problem with that. Try and draw a straighter line. It's not great. Okay, divided by 2 times a. A is negative 16, so 2 times a would be negative 32. And take this up here. Simplify the radicand or the radical. We have negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 100 plus, okay, because we had a negative 4 times negative 16, so that gave me a positive 64. Let's see, that gives me 16 times 3. 16 times 3 is 30 and 18, so 48. So 100 plus 48 all over negative 32. Okay, and so we come down again, and that is equal to negative 10 plus or minus the square root of, let's look at the square root of 148. We could break this down by 2's. This would be, I believe, 74 and 2, and that is 37 and 2. And 37 does not break down. That's a prime number. So we get 2 out of there, which is always nice. So negative 10 plus or minus 2, square root of 37, all divided by negative 32. Let's kind of divide out some of that. And actually, we can just, we could simplify this a little bit more. That would be negative 5 plus or minus square root of 37 over negative 16. Kind of want to factor out the negative as well, but that's okay. So at this point, you probably want to plug it into your calculator. Negative 5 plus the square root of 37 is 1.08276253 divided by negative 16 is some really, it's negative 0.068. We'll just round it off right there. Okay, so seconds. So he was on the ground negative 0.068 seconds before he jumped. Okay, traveling in time doesn't really make sense. Okay, negative 5 minus the square root of 37 over negative 16. Okay, that was plus. This one's minus. Is equal to negative 5 minus the square root of 37 is negative 11 divided by negative 16 and that is a positive 0.693 seconds. Okay, so the frog was in the air for less than a second, 0.693 seconds, and then it got to the ground. Or they actually said about 0.7 seconds, but let's keep it at 0.693. Okay, we could find the vertex and so we'll just leave it at that. All right, so you can use the quadratic formula, quadratic formula, solve quadratic equations. It will always work to an extent, in that if it has an answer, your square root will be positive, and then you'll always have an answer, and that will show you where it's going to cross the x-axis or meet the x-axis. You can also, I'll do one more that shows how you can use it to find other things. Like this was just finding 0, but what if we wanted to find out when the frog was at a specific height or something? Okay, so we'll do one more with that.